Hello and welcome to iCaveAnswers, where I answer your Apple questions every day of the week. Today we're doing it separately because we had a big old video already, so let's get right into it. First comes a question from Josh. iCaveAnswers, where do you get your computer wallpaper from? So, dead easy, and I have actually changed it today as well, just to switch things up a little bit, but it comes from the same place. It is unsplash.com. I've included a link for the wallpaper on here, or the artist that has produced it, but you can find awesome wallpapers over there, and it's all kind of royalty free as well. Great stuff. Alan B Unboxings and News asks, "Hey Dave, this is my question. What are your thoughts about Apple launching a titanium iPhone? And I don't think about Apple launching a titanium iPhone, and I want to hear your thoughts about it. Also, what do you think about iOS 16 and what features do you think are going to be new? And did you know that the iPhone 7 Plus has an A10X chip, and Apple says that the iPhone 7 Plus can be compatible with new updates until 2027? I don't know why." So let's take them one at a time. Apple has definitely done a lot of research around titanium just recently, although it looks like most of that is going towards MacBooks, which will be very exciting. I think we might also get titanium in an iPad Pro, but yes, it does look like next year we may well get titanium framed iPhone 14 Pros, which is pretty cool, and maybe, I don't know, maybe it's going to be the iPhone Air, because these things are going to be a lot lighter than stainless steel. On iOS 16, no idea what they're going to add to it. I would hope there will be more customization, more opportunity for people to change icons easily. I think that would be a really good thing for Apple to add, because obviously we've seen how popular it was when people started using shortcuts to do it. And the iPhone 7 Plus, it's an A10, not an A10X inside there, and I would be surprised if you're going to get 2027 for updates. I think next year is probably the last update that it will get. Josh asks, iCaveAnswers, do you have the tinfoil hat on your head? I'm guessing this is a reference to iUpdate's video where he opened his last video with a tinfoil hat on. I'm not a conspiracy boy. I'm not getting into it. That's not something that I care about. Marcin Kowalczyk, iCaveAnswers, numbers game. Your guess as to the possible number of Thunderbolt ports on M1X bigger platforms like the iMac or Mac Pro, 4, 8 or more. So I have a weird feeling that for the Mac Pro, Apple's probably going to introduce something proprietary again, because they seem to love doing that. Although I thought Thunderbolt is a really great standard, and I think it's probably going to have enough capacity for quite some time to keep up with stuff. I think the Mac Pros may well have a stackable way of doing modularity, so you get kind of a Mac Mini that's a bit taller. That's your base Mac Pro, and then you can put Mac Mini size modules underneath it that might have a beefier connection on the back. In terms of the number of Thunderbolt ports, I think Thunderbolt 4 is probably the maximum that they will go to, but you might get some USB-Cs that are non-Thunderbolt as well. The Weird Channel Amazement asks, iCaveAnswers, do you think that Apple will ever come out with a MacBook SE? I think we're probably going to find out in spring of next year. I think the MacBook SE is a really good idea. Whether it's going to be the old MacBook style housing, the 12-inch, or if it's going to be a repurposed MacBook Air, I'm not 100% sure, but I do think that Apple will, at least, regardless of whether they use the MacBook SE name, they will keep the M1 product around at a lower price point to give people an opportunity to join Apple's kind of ecosystem for a very reasonable price. It just makes sense because it's what they've always done with iPads and iPhones in the past, keeping older models around in order to get a lower price point. So I hope that it's coming. I also would really like to see a Mac Mini SE. That just seems like the most sensible thing in the world. Robert Neighbours asks, iCaveAnswers, would you recommend getting a 24-inch new iMac, or would a 27-inch Intel iMac still be a good buy? I can't in good faith recommend anyone buys an Intel Mac at this point. It's been made very clear by both Apple and Intel that they don't really have much of a future together. If there was going to be an updated Mac Pro, I think, with new Intel chips, it would have come out this summer. Instead, all Apple did was update the GPU options, so I have a feeling that there's very little future left for Apple and Intel together. I could be wrong on that, but in terms of performance, the 24-inch iMac is going to be more future-proof than any of the Intel models, regardless of how powerful they are. If you must get an Intel Mac, I would say buy used, because the prices are a little bit lower, and you will get just as much performance out of a used one as you will out of the current generation brand new. And also, I always think with a desktop, you don't really need to worry as much about things like Apple Care because you're less likely to drop your iMac unless you're Linus Tech Tips. Cactus Coder asks, iCaveAnswers, with all of the talk of M1X coming out, are there rumours or rumblings that maybe we'll go just straight to M2X? It would seem a bit off that we might end up with a scenario where there are faster per core consumer chips on what might be more mature hardware than the upper tier pro level chips. If this jump straight to the M2X isn't on the cards, do you expect a release cadence to continue down the road where we have nearly a year delay from the M series to the MX series variants? That is exactly what I expect. So I think we'll get our A series chips coming out in the fall each year. So for example, this year we're going to get the A15. Then I think we will get our M series chip in the spring. So when we've got the M2 expected at the spring event for the new MacBook Airs, I think that's very legit as the timescale that we'll be getting those in future. So I don't think we'll get them straight away as we did last year. And then come to the fall again, we will get the M2X variant. So this year, I'm pretty confident that we're getting M1X. I really don't think that M2X is going to make any sense for now because these chips have been produced already. They were produced back in around March time. There were supply chain leaks at the time saying February, March time is when they produced the M1X chips. So we know that they're already produced. There's no reason to expect that they would have binned, that they would have thrown out all of these chips just because the A15 is coming. I think the more likely thing is that once the production methods are set in stone and the yields are super high because all of the issues have been ironed out, that's when we get the M1X chips because they're going to be bigger dies more than likely, and issues on the chips are going to massively affect the yield much more than they would on the smaller A15 chips. And on the M series chips, the MX chips have to wait until maturity of the core design in order to be feasible financially, as far as I can gather. That is my best guess anyway. Dante Buratar asks, iCaveAnswers, Apple Music. I have a large music collection collected over the last 30 years. If I subscribe to Apple Music, will all the music files on my Mac get deleted if I sync the library? I really don't want Apple messing with my files though in it. I really just wanted to hear you say though in it. So no, it doesn't delete the files that you have on your Mac already, the stuff that you've already got. However, I actually use a combination of Apple Music subscription and also iTunes Match, which still exists for some reason, which basically I think it costs £21 a year. I don't know what it is in dollars, but basically what Apple does then is they scan your entire library on your system. Anything that you've got on your system, it will upgrade automatically for you to a higher quality, and it will also make all of your files available in the cloud, so you can basically play them from your iPhone and download them via iCloud when you want to. So I think that's probably the best bet. It doesn't affect what you already have on your system, but it does allow you to then play them wherever you happen to be. So, shorter little show for iCaveAnswers today, but I wanted to separate it out from the big show of everything that we know about the iPhone 13. If you haven't checked that one out yet, here's the link. Go and check it out. Make sure that you like, subscribe, all of that good stuff, and we'll see you in the next one.